Now, the reason I did it so quickly is because your brain works in a particular way, and if I make you stay there longer, it's not going to work as well. So, how many F's did you count?
8.
Okay. How many people counted 8? Okay. How many people counted something else? 7. Okay. Very good. Excellent. How many people counted something else? 6. Very good. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. Now, the group as a whole said 8. Okay. And the rest of you said, wait a minute, that's not true. I saw 7. And the rest of you said, I don't think so, because I was right there. I was right there reading that, and there was 6. Now, somebody who counted 8, come up here and join me. Ooh, come on. An 8 person, Pat. I love, oh my God. Look at this. Everybody's, okay, 8. Now, all right, you just come out, be counted. Come on. It's like, the whole room is going to come up here. Now, what's your, that's all right, come on up here. Because you know we got to see your glory. Now, for those, oh, there's a great picture, my gosh. Oh my gosh, look at us. Thank you so much, you guys. All right, now, somebody, okay, each one of you give me an F. Okay, read the sentence and give the first F, then the second F.
F in finished. F in files.
Okay.
F in of. F in of. First F in effort.
And
the second F in effort.
Okay. And one more.
And the F in professional. And scientific.
And scientific. Okay, so all the words, so Lizzie, read all the words with F in them.
Finished files of, effort, scientific, professionals.
Oh, man, did you see the 8? Okay, large round of applause for my colleagues. I can't live without them. Thank you so much, you guys. Good job. Now, for those of you that saw 6, you're thinking, wait a minute. That's just so not fair. For those of you that saw 7, you're like, wait a minute. What's that all about? So what was different between 6 and 7 and 8?
The ofs.
The ofs. If you're a speed reader like me, you just blow right over those ofs. It's like, yeah, they're in there. So just because it's right in front of your face doesn't mean you see it. So in business, in your work, things could be right under your nose. You don't see them. They're just like an of. They were a metaphorical of. They were just a business of. Missed them. And other people are thinking, you know, there was an of there and you didn't see it. Okay? So your perception and other people's perception are not necessarily always the same. And what's the truth for you? 6 is the truth for you. 7 is the truth for you. 8 is the truth for you. Well, how can that be? There's 3 different truths in the same place. What's that all about? Trick question. Okay. So your perception is simply one perspective. So the connection between your perception and the available perspectives is that yours is only one. So, the difference between perception and perspective is perception is like single-focused, and perception has got 3 possibilities. Now, how many of you learned to drive a car on a stick shift, besides me? How fun was that? Okay? Love it, love it, love it. But the first time you ever got in the car, there's all those pedals, and there's the gears, and there's the clutch, and there's the hill, and there's the whole stalling out thing. Okay. But once you actually learn to drive a stick shift, and you got 5 gears, okay, that's pretty cool, right? People also have mental gears. Now, suppose you're driving a car and it just had 1 gear. You could go forward, but not backwards, and not fast. Boring. So what if you had 2 gears? You could go forward and backward. That's kind of cool. What if you had 3 gears? Forward, backward, and fast. You're like, oh my gosh. Well, in your brain, most people only have their perception. That's just one perspective. It's like driving a car with 1 gear. How many of you work with folks who their way is the only way, their truth is the only truth? Is it just me or people going, oh my gosh, you know my people? Yeah, I do. Now, and how many of you have been in a situation before where it is so true for you that you can't even entertain another possibility? Who else besides me has been in that position? Okay, so here's the strategy, and it's a distinction. So we're going to use this distinction and then have some conversation about it, okay? So your perception is your reality. That's the blank on the page if you like to fill things in. And if you don't, it's totally okay. I think you get it. Perspective is the way you experience something, and it changes depending on what angle you come from, okay? So now I'm going to give you a moment to take a look at these, and we're going to talk about them one by one, okay? So the gears is a metaphor that I made up for perception and perspective. Because when I learned it in a training called Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Anybody ever heard of it? Oh my goodness, oh heck yes. And if you know NLP, you know that these are the perceptual positions. Really? Who's going to say perceptual positions of practice? Not happening. But people will say the gears, and for the last, probably almost 20 years, people have been using the gears and saying, you know what, I can shift. And that's the point. Can you shift your perspective? So first gear is that subjective gear, which is always true and always right, but just for you on your own little planet. Okay? And it's made up of 4 things. So here's the distinction. Your beliefs, and it's written right down, so you don't, I wrote the hard stuff down, so you wouldn't have to copy it, okay? So, your beliefs, your values, your opinions, and your experiences. So, suppose your experiences were like mine. You ran away from home at 17 with the clothes on your back. You sandblasted and painted submarines in the U.S. Navy. You were the only woman in firefighting and damage control school, and you didn't learn your colors till you were in your 40s. Just saying. So, you would have different experiences than someone who grew up in a family that they never wanted to leave, went to college, took ballet, started as a lawyer, and worked at a high firm in New York City. Totally different experiences. So our perception of the world would be completely different, right? So if I'm walking down the street in New York City in my 20s, okay, I can handle anything, because you know what? I can sandblast and paint submarines, and guys do what I tell them. I can walk down the street in New York City and not be, it's not a problem. Whereas, if you came from somewhere else, you might be walking down the streets of New York City in the dark, a little nervous, right? So those are our experiences, and they affect what we see and how we experience it.